try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep, move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they drag the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions in the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off, I'ma break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft, you can change lives, you create thoughts. Never waste time, you got one shot, you got one life. Better pop off, what do you like? Make a dream job, no 9-5, no mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep, move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they drag the chains, you can say no, free me. Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep, move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they drag the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions in the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off, I'ma break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft, you can change lives, you create thoughts. Never waste time, you got one shot, you got one life. Better pop off, what do you like? Make a dream job, no 9-5, no mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep, move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they drag the chains, you can say no, free me. Easy, you don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they drag the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off, I'ma break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life. Better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep, only scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? If you're new, welcome to the Gray Pill Podcast. I am Angelus, representing again for the Gray Pill Podcast. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, share, especially if the conversation is valid, informative, and all that good stuff, all right? So, again, we're going to have a conversation. If you've seen the thumbnail, we're going to have a conversation about culture appropriation, all right? So, if anybody doesn't know what that means, we're going to have that deep dive conversation about it. Now, for me, it means that, hey, you know what? The fact that I'm Black, when I see another person, the opposite culture of me, the opposite race of me, is eating something that I believe that only my culture does, and they're profiting off it maybe, or they're shining upon it maybe, or get some kind of individual clout or fame from that. And I give an example for it could be food, it could be this type of hairstyle that a lot of Black people say, hey, you know what? We adopted that culture, right? That's mine. The braids, the cornrows, all that good stuff. Or better yet, hey, maybe it's down to the certain types of food. You know, shout out to my Caribbean people out there. Hey, that's our jerk. This is our type of food. That. So, what happened to? What about the type of costumes that certain people wear? Okay, maybe I saw a certain type of culture that maybe be rocking the type of outfit. They're saying, hey, you know what? I don't think that, let's say, blackface to whiteface, maybe that might be offensive to you. Why is that offensive? Okay. What's going on with our society today? What's going on? That's conversation that we need to have. I saw a great conversation with a Miss Amala. I tagged her in the description, so I apologize if I screwed up her name. I'm not good with that 100%. Definitely good with the faces, so she can correct me. A conversation that she had with Dr. Phil on that end with another doctor about diversity with the culture today, what we like and don't like when we see certain things, and what's the reasons why. So we're going to have that deep dive conversation. So what we have here, shout out to Miss Jen. How you doing, Genesis? You can check her out, the Book of Genesis. And if you want to introduce yourself and talk about, give us a brief description of your channel.
Hey, y'all. The Southern, they think I'm a Southern Belle, but I'm not really. My channel is the Book of Genesis, and I talk about a little bit of everything, all things life, unscripted.
Okay, fair enough. I appreciate that. And is there a certain time a channel, or just like, hey, you just have spring in a moment?
It was Saturdays at 8:30, but it's summertime. Well, it's fall now, but I like to be outside on Saturday nights. So I'm doing this random thing that I just pop up. So, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get the notifications, because who knows when I'll pop up.
All right, fair enough. That sounds like it might be another conversation we might do cooking season, because it's our anniversary on the Great Pocket. It's our anniversary coming up soon, so we might be doing an episode of cooking season. You never know.
Yes, I might be when it starts snowing.
There you go. I appreciate you, Genesis. And we have Peace Love. How you doing, Peace Love? You can catch her if you want to introduce your channel and tell us a little bit more about yourself for the viewers, and especially on the replay. Also, guys, if you're not aware, I will be on a guest on Peace Love where we'll have a great conversation. So I'm actually. I'm gonna be honest. I've been on the panels just to have relatable conversation, I guess. Just to get warmed up and prepped and ready for your channel. So I appreciate.
Oh, good. Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that. I do. Yeah. So my channel is named after me, Peace Love. It's all about me and things that I like to do, which is talk about documentaries on Netflix. I love documentaries. So I do that every Wednesday, every Tuesday. We come together with a group of my friends here on the YT streets, and we talk about world news, politics, pop culture, anything like that. And then I have one-on-one with Peace Love, and that's where I'm going to be interviewing people who I have come across the YT streets with. One is being Gray Pill Podcast, and we're going to be talking about relationship type of topics. And then on Fridays, I usually go into the YT streets news, where I talk about all the ratchet things that are happening on the YT streets. So that encompasses all of me. Peace, love, and enjoy my channel.
That's good. It sounds a little bit similar to mine, because I know it's one content you do a little bit differently. So I think maybe for me, because I know I made a little joke with Genesis about the cuffing season. I think just for anniversary, I think I might just hit the streets and just ask random people. You know what I'm saying? Do a little collaboration. I think it might be fun. Just ask random people, not on a live stream per se, but just a little content. Just say, hey, what do you think is cuffing season? How do you feel about it?
Oh, that'd be cute.
Yeah, just see what the public got to say. Because they be bashed Alabama, so I got give them some clout, give them some clout.
Yeah, I can totally see that. That's cute.
Okay, I'll try that. See how that goes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that sound good with you, Genesis?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, are you ready for cuffing season?
Me per se, you talking to Genesis?
You. Are you ready?
Well, it's two definitions of
this.
Well, it's two definitions of cuffing season, and when me and Mika started this channel, it's about to be a year in October, I believe. A lot of people didn't know what that meant. It felt like the guys understood it one way, and the women definitely understood it another way. And I'll just give a brief description, then I'll answer your question, because I'm slowly trying to avoid it. So, and I know how you are, so you're gonna make me answer that question. So I'm
that was a yes or no.
I'm being political. You know how we do.
I know. I'm like, come on now. I'm sorry, I gotta clean my camera off. Go ahead.
On the men's side, a lot of majority cuffing seasons for guys will find either insecure women. Periods around the time when they're pretty much broke and dusty, and just hang around in the winter time, get all the resources from them, or just kind of like squirrels, in the winter, they nuts and all homo. And then when the summertime come, they like to have that summer fun. So a lot of guys that's pretty much what the guys' perspective of cuffing season. On the other end, the women be like, hey, cuffing season's like, you know what? Holidays are coming. I got my man. I got my new boyfriend, my exclusive. Let me go ahead and we show him off to the family and friends and all that good stuff like that. So that's how they take cuffing season. But unfortunately, I am single. 0 dates.
That's not an unfortunate thing in a lot of circumstances.
It's not. I love me, myself, and I. That's pretty much what I promote to other people. Love yourself first. So no, at the moment, nobody I will be cuffing during the holidays. My intentions is not.
Hey, you never know. You may meet her tonight.
Hey, you never know. But my intention is not to be running around looking to cuff somebody on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and especially the New Year's.
That can get costly around the holidays. Let's be honest.
And the funny thing too, I 100% agree with that. So with that being said, I don't cook on the holidays too, because I know all my family members and friends cook spreads during that whole time. So yes, you save a lot on the holidays if you don't cook, ladies and gentlemen.
Have you ever been to a Friendsgiving?
Have I? I think I have.
It's like where everyone brings in a dish and it's all your friends. You guys.
Oh, that's us in the South. Yeah. Then that's every day. That's us in the South. We call it potluck. We call it potluck.
Yeah, potluck. But I mean, Friendsgiving is for the Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but I
understand it's potluck.
I have to represent my country folks. So we call it. We're just like, hey, let's say for example, it's your house, right? We'll rotate house. So if it's your house, I might bring my best dish. Then Genesis might bring her best dish.
Right.
Enough to feed for 5, and that's it. And then whatever's left over, either I take it or you keep it. And we do that daily. You do it daily? Yeah. Us Southern heads, we eat. We eat down here.
Like the eating host, huh?
Yeah. Because when I started doing my culinary skills and I made the first time gumbo, people was like, "What?" Yes. Now
what you know about gumbo?
Everybody check me out at my Instagram at Wear the Crown Well. You will see all the meal preps. Shout out to Primal Studies, where we'll be doing a
Okay.
stream about what men can cook as we having conversations. Because unfortunately, they have them guys in some spaces saying, yes, women need to be making sandwiches, and me and Prime like, no, men cook too.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get ready for the conversation. So, do y'all ladies know what it means to be culturally appropriation or culturally appropriate,
Well,
or be against it?
well, I think you gave a really great description of what it is, and I have to agree with you. Now, I may not be okay. I'm a Black woman. I'm
Okay.
for all things Black. I'm pro blackity black. Okay,
What
but let
kind
me
of
just say
flavor?
that.
Okay.
I want to preface it with that before I say what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Y'all. Okay, so when white people decide that they're going to put cornrows in their hair, it doesn't offend me. It actually is flattering because it's like, that is our roots, that is our heritage. I mean, that's like straight from the motherland.
Correct.
Now, when these magazines then take that hairstyle and say, oh, this is the new look, and Black America then kind of seeps into white America, right?
Yes.
The mainstream, what we call the mainstream, and it's like something new to them. That's when I get offended. Okay. It's like, no, you need to give Black people their props, right? You need to give Africans their props. Like, this is not something new. This is something that we've been doing. This is how this hairstyle is something that we're raised on. Like, this is just a part of us and our heritage and our culture and our history, But I will say this, because I've always said to myself, well, okay, if we get offended if these white girls walk around with cornrows, shouldn't they get offended if we straighten our hair? Because that's not how our hair comes out of our head. Like, we're sitting around buying all of this straight hair from these different countries and putting it in our hair. So, and gluing it to our head. So I just don't get it on the reverse side.
Yeah.
But yeah, what pisses me off is when media then takes it and they try to make it something, like they try to act as though it's something that we haven't been doing for centuries, basically. Like, what?
So would it be safe to say you feel like that the cornrows and the hairstyles is out? So I'll ask a question. I'll give my take on it. So would you say that you feel like the cornrows and the hairstyles that us as Black people have today, you feel like that is ours across the board?
I mean, it definitely originated with us, like that's how we keep our hair, and a lot of times it's just because of the it's for function more than fashion, because that's just how we can handle it and manage it and maintain it. Like, that's just our hair. That's how we've been doing it, like I said, for centuries. So it's hair. It's hair. So people can also braid it and do cornrows however they want to do it. So just give us, our props when it's done. I can't say that it's ours.
Okay, fair enough.
Other people can do it. It's hair. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. Genesis, what's your take on that? Is Genesis, you there? I feel like I should have an.
Oh, you're muted. Yeah.
You're muted. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you now.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I got 15 different devices going over here, so I don't know which one is connected.
Oh no.
I'm not sure about the cornrow thing. Like, I don't know. I have mixed emotions about it. Like, I'm sure. Well, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but there was a video that was like circulating on TikTok where the little girl said that she wanted to have the cornrows like the brown girls. And I thought it was cute, that she was doing it. But then when they're adults, I kind of feel a different way, because it's kind of like, or for me anyway, the things that we were talked about or were looked at as a negative are now the things that they're embracing. Like, our hair texture, our full lips,
Mm-hmm.
our full bottoms, and
Mm-hmm.
now they're doing the same thing to look like us. And it's like, okay, is it acceptable now because other people are doing it?
That's a good
Mm.
question. And I'm going to show a reaction of a clip from Dr. Phil having a verse conversation with a doctor. I forgot his name. I apologize to him to give his accolades because it's well deserved for him. But Amala is the one that I saw the main source and saw the whole thing through. But it's pretty much a 4-minute clip where pretty much had that conversation. I thought it was a really good one because they broke it down, Peace, Love, and Genesis, where they actually talked about just the hair. They actually talked about the food, and they talked about the other things that me per se on my end of that small little space that I'm in. I didn't think that far ahead. You know what I'm saying? Because again, there's
Mm.
other cultures beside us, and they might feel some kind of way too. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna show that. So anybody in the chat, if you feel like, hey, does hair matter? Does food culture matter to you? Do you feel the same way like Peace Love does? Hey, sometimes that I might feel like too, like, hey, you know what? That Hawaiian man is making a dish that my brothers and sisters been making for 400 years, so he needs to stop. Or if he's gonna make that and he's gonna promote it on his TV or his commercials, he at least should give us some recognition. So that's how a lot of people
Mhm.
feel too. And they did a new thing here. It's called share. Now it's called presentation screen. StreamYard,
Oh,
y'all need
really?
yeah,
They
it's not even
updated? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. They're actually listening to us on the live streams now. Okay, good stuff.
Criticized and condemned for cultural appropriation. Has anyone here ever called someone out for cultural appropriation?
That's a good question. I didn't think about that neither. Did anybody here ever call somebody out or think to themselves like, yo, why this person wearing something that they think they Asian, they think they Hawaiian, they think they Jamaican? Anybody ever thought of that before when they see other people wear certain things?
Um, I think that this may seem kind of hypocritical.
Mm-hmm.
You guys might be like, well, shoot, is she coming or is she going? But let me
Yeah.
say this. When white folks wear dreads, I'm like, y'all stop playing with me.
Yeah, yeah. I think I agree with you on the dreads.
Like, y'all stop playing with me, you know? Like, I got locks in right now, but my hair can actually do this if I wanted it to do this, like, naturally, you know?
Okay.
Um, so, and I know that for white folks, like, it takes some time. Like, they got to use, like, certain,
So what about the Native Americans if they had cornrows and braids? What about the Vikings if they had cornrows and braids?
oh, I think that's cool, you know?
Okay.
Oh, they did have cornrows and braids in there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
If
true.
if history actually tells anything, I believe the Vikings either came before us or during us when they were doing braids. That was their
Mm.
natural thing, was braids and cornrows for the Vikings.
Oh,
Indians
okay.
too.
Okay. Okay.
Indians too. So shout out to them.
Well,
There you go. Part of that learning curve. All right, hold on 1 second.
You too? You have? You have? Has anybody here ever thought twice about wearing something or doing something, even cooking something, out of fear of being accused of appropriation?
That's a good question too. I got compliments on my cooking, but I never per se was told like, oh, my Italian mom cooked this, so you just can't, or my Jerusalem brothers out in the hemisphere feels a different way about stuff like that. So y'all had, well, because I know I pretty much joke around with Genesis about just the accent. So you never had anybody outside just your culture period to say, hey, you know what, that's our type of food, or if vice versa for you, Genesis.
No, not really. No, I'm just gonna say no and leave it at that.
Okay, fair enough. What about you, Peace Love?
I think that there are certain ways that we as Black people make our food that, and white people make it a little different. Like with the potato salad, uh, we always be talking about
Raisins.
Don't jack,
You know,
raisins.
you know, the Asians coming for me. They coming for me.
We're like, don't put no raisins in your potato salad and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just know if I went to a Black home and I saw raisins in the potato salad, I would be like, you grew up around white folks or something. Like, this isn't
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. And I think that's kind
I'm
of
just
bad.
being honest.
No, that's 100% true, because I think that's to a degree that, to me, that's inappropriate too, because and it's also low key bashing, because that kind of like try to brainwash you in a way. Because I remember, and this is just me on my end. I remember slowly, I think around my late teens, I would just slowly start cooking because I would watch something my grandmother cook. Right, it was all soul food. And then after my 20s, I would just start exploring my culinary skills. Well, mostly my taste bud, because I'm a big foodie. So it was I was always sticking to one entree for Chinese food, because everybody was about the chicken wings and the fries. Shout out to Springfield Avenue, Irvington, because they had the best fried chicken wings. 50 cent a wing. The fries, and that was it. And then to my homeboy, that was actually West Indian. He said, "Hey, if that's all you're gonna eat," I'm like, "Yeah," because that's all I know. Try some lau mein with some beef. Try some chicken lau mein. Try some spring rolls and stuff like that. And I tried. I said, I ate that. Now I'm mixing it up every day, coming to buy that. And now, so yeah, with food, I think people need to be very careful with just attacking some people low key about what you should make in your home. Because even myself, again, when I started making a lot of more healthier meals, and I'm big about presentation, and my mom was like, "Oh, I didn't know you like to eat that. Oh, I didn't know you eat oysters. You eat sushi." "Yes, ma'am." "Oh, I didn't know." "Okay, well, I'm happy to present it to you." Or, "Hey, come around the house a little bit more." Not saying she didn't, but you'll see a lot of stuff I cook, because everything's not going to be fried. So you got to come out the box a little bit, and definitely not to segregate one person because of something they eat. I believe that's very ridiculous. But I'm gonna show this. Go back to the clip real quick.
You have?
Yes.
Yeah. What was it?
My daughter had braids, and she wanted me to get braids that were just like hers.
Why her but not you?
She's half Black and half white,
Okay.
and so I just think that some things should stick with those cultures.
Well, no matter whether you believe it's harmful or you think people should.
Do we agree or disagree on that with the same concept she's saying, Genesis?
I think I agree. I don't know. This is a tough subject for me. Like when the kids are involved, I understand her trying to identify or, connect with her daughter on that level.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm torn. I'm torn.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree, like I said before, agree with it for the adults, but because she has a child and, her child shares, her bloodline and obviously the dad's bloodline. Yeah, that's difficult.
Okay.
Without the kid, I'd probably say no.
Yeah. And two, if anybody didn't recognize, she looked like she's from Latino descent, and her hair color is different. Does that, exclude her from me saying, "Hey, you know what? This other culture did this, so I should just, not be her friend, kind of turn my nose at her"? No. I would take that as just a compliment from other people. You know what I'm saying? I even say down to the clothes you wear, because I pretty much have a shirt on now that's pretty much representing some.
I have this issue with this because when the shoe is on the other foot, like you mentioned,
Correct.
hair color, with her having a different hair color, nobody says anything. If you go into, anywhere, you can go into Walmart, you can go into Target, and you see teenagers in there of other nationalities with hair colors of all kinds, and
Mhm.
nothing is ever said, or it's looked at as trendy or fashionable or whatever. And if you let an African American girl go into there, then it's looked at as ghetto if her hair color is anything other than brown.
Correct.
I have to agree with that.
I agree too.
I have to agree with that. Yep.
I agree. And we'll say something like, as y'all seen the thumbnail, Kim Kardashian, she has the braids, just like Peace Love here. Could be similar, a little bit different, but she had the braids. But she will walk out in public, everybody will praise her for it. But somebody Peace Love dealing with a job or employment, she will have to pretty much dumb herself down to a certain look to get the job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
My girlfriend explained it a very funny way, and I'll never forget it to this day. She was like, employers, like the more scalp you show, the more uncomfortable they get. So just keep that in mind when you're going in for, keep that in mind when you're going in for a job. But yeah, I think it's wonderful if her daughter wants to wear locks. I mean, not locks, but cornrows, especially if she's half Black. So she wants to, connect to our culture in that way. Even if white kids want to wear cornrows, I honestly am just like, I just find it very flattering. Like, you find that look beautiful and you want to express yourself. And I find it very flattering. I don't get offended by it or anything like that.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree.
I think when it comes to adults, so say they are embracing the cornrows. Well, then, for us, or I'll use the locks, in certain places, kids can't go to school if they have locks. So if, and there's a stereotype that typically goes with, braids or cornrows when they're worn by us. So if they start to wear them, then will they become acceptable in the workplace? Because we're looked at as unprofessional if our hair isn't a particular type of way in corporate America. Would the same hold true? Right. Well, we've had to fight
now. Right. So corporate America is now accepting their employees with wearing locks and stuff like that. So they're starting to loosen, their restrictions. We're starting to see that more and more, especially after the Black Lives Matter. That really opened a lot of companies and organizations' eyes to see how things were very different between Black America and white America.
I will also say that the LGBT community also added just a little bit of that diversity too to push that forward. I definitely agree with Tom with that. Definitely agree.
I guess my bigger issue is, if it's acceptable, don't make it acceptable because others are starting to do it when it wasn't acceptable for us, when it was something that was exclusive to our culture.
Yeah, so you're pretty much, and this is what I'm hearing. So you're pretty much saying not be a woke culture, but recognize what you're doing. And if somebody come across like, hey girl, and I'm just speaking for another nationality outside of yours, if somebody say, hey, I like this, where you get it from, at least just show recognition for it. I think that's pretty much where me and Peace Love saying it. Even if I don't even really care that much, because I understand TV, news, media, it's a marketing, but even that might be a little bit forced upon other people. Again, like Kim Kardashian, right? She have it, so somebody else might see it, a young generation, like, you know what? I like that. Where you get that from? And she'll just give some whole BS story 20 years back, when that's technically not no history.
Right.
I get it. I just think people just need to recognize, if I get, if I get a mullet one day, hey, where you get that? You know what? My white friend here, he did mullets. I was feeling it one day, so I said, screw it. Let me get a mullet. You know what I'm saying? show some recognition for the mullets. Shout out to the mullet people out there. Shout out to them.
Just be allowed to do what they want. There is no doubt this is a hot button topic that people are passionate about. Dr. Neal Lester, a professor of English at Arizona State University, right?
I am, yes.
And you've published, lectured, and
Neal Lester. I apologize, good sir. Make sure I got your name right.
these. What do you think about appropriation? Do you think this is a real thing, something that people need to be cognizant of? And if so, why?
All right, take very close pay attention to what his take on this. So this is what I found was very interesting and good about this conversation here.
Absolutely. Well, because if we in fact are trying to look at the humanity of other people, and we are trying to live in a place where we are trying to be respectful and mindful of folks, then we need to be aware of things that are important to other cultures that don't necessarily look like us or share the same values. So it is a thing, and people need to be aware of.
Can anybody appropriate?
Anybody can appropriate, yes.
Not just white people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Appropriation is intersectional. So old people can appropriate youth culture. Youth culture can appropriate old folks. People who are not incarcerated can impersonate, prisoners or those who are incarcerated. Men appropriate women's attire for the sake of funny and mocking. So absolutely anybody can do it, and everybody on some level may have flirted with it.
Okay, but a lot of the time that people that I've seen are called out for this, it's not that they were making fun or mocking in some way. It was just that they had adopted a fashion or a style or whatever.
I would say that's a performance. So if somebody's culture and somebody's identity becomes a performance, then it's reductive. So if you're reducing, for example, say the civil rights movement to an afro, and you wear that, or you wear dreadlock wigs, that Rastafarians may wear, you do that because it's edgy, because it's cool, but ultimately because it's not you, and you're getting some kind of cultural capital from that by doing it.
And that's pretty much where I think me and Peace Love was chiming in on just on that part. I think that pretty much hit holes for me, just not the recognition of it, even if you do it. But I'm gonna chime in on something Wally said in the chat. If y'all got questions about it, definitely hit up in the chat. I appreciate y'all guys again. Hit the subscribe, hit the like button. If you're new, our goal is 500. We're not greedy for the subs, but we work hard for each subscribers. Thumbnails, editing all day, every day. It's all on me. It's all on me. Hold on, let me get my cry, because I seen some people crying in 4K, so maybe that might help too with the subs.
Child, not crying 4K.
Yeah, gotta cry a little bit in 4K. Get a sub up. But excuse me. Wally says, "How long have this ish been done?" Question mark. We're talking ish that should be done, talked about long ago. This is irrelevant. True to a person that has sense, Wally, and to a person that's educated, Wally. Me myself, I always say, "Hey, I'm a 9 to 5 and regular and laid back," but guess what? I have sense versus the street smarts versus the educated people, right? So you have people on the left, you have people on the right, and you have some people in the middle that's always left behind. So with that conversation always need to be had. Just like say maybe one day we might talk about, is racism irrelevant? You know what? That we might have that conversation down the line if people from multi races is willing to have that conversation. Because again, us all together as a Black individual, all we can do is just echo chamber back and forth our experiences. But if we're hearing it from another party, like I have had a lot of conversations behind scenes out my house with other people, and they ask those questions. So these conversations definitely need to be had, and definitely need to be aware of it. Because again, and I'm just speaking from my culture, just seeing this, right? Like me and Peace Love, an example. If I know I see a quote unquote another race wearing blackface in the Halloween costume, I'm gonna feel some way. That's automatic. But somebody else might say, you know what, that might be flattering. It's a costume, bro. It's just Halloween, bro. Let it go. It's not that serious, bro. Okay, so you tell me you're gonna do it that one time a year? Okay, no problem. Now, are they gonna mimic me? Are they gonna do certain things as me? Like how does that work? You know what I'm saying? Now it might be a certain type of food. Okay, and I'll throw one a curveball because I don't want to make it all black and white. The Hawaiians, the Colombians, the Portuguese, their culture is indoctrinated over here to the States. So when they're eating certain foods, I just can't naturally say, oh, well, I'm making some Colombian cuisines. I'm making some Latino cuisine. So it's mine because I made it. I cook it in my house. I pay rent and bills, so it's mine. That's not true. Where'd you learn that from? Oh man, you know what? My boy Poppy Blanco from from over there from Colombia, he gave me his dish back. He always talked about his grandparents, so he talked about and gave me this dish. So what happened was he gave me the recipe. So shout out to the people over there, right?
Mhm.
That's how that works. I'm giving recognition. Now, if I just happen to take Poppy Blanco's great grandmama's dish, now I'm making $1 million off of it, I still got to show some kind of recognition. It's not me who made this. I didn't create this dish. All dishes came from somewhere. So I think that's pretty much where we're coming from. We have to have these conversations. It's not about your hairstyle. It's not just about the clothes. It's also about the food. Hawaiians, way back, I remember back in the 70s, where the surfboard era, right? Shout out to the people in Cali. People used to surf all the time. Now you're coming back, people kind of threw that culture with the surfing and skateboarding inside the pools. Where do we get that from? Oh, I gotta be what? No, there's history behind that. So if you need to think back 5-10 years ago from your friend or your brother that showed you that, okay, fine. But also learn the history of where you're doing something that you love. You love to cook, understand it, give the recognition. So again, Wally, these conversations definitely to be had because it's out there 24/7. Unfortunately, we're not really aware of it. But if you make a snicker or comment, why she trying to be like us? That's it right there. That's the reason why. That is definitely the reason why.
And who's hurt by that?
Well, it's not a matter of who's hurt by it, it's who's being disrespected by it.
Well, who's being disrespected?
That
The
part.
whole culture of people whose identities are wrapped in whatever you're dressing into and can then take off.
Amala, you don't agree.
I don't. No.
You think worrying about appropriation is a waste of time?
I think not only is it somewhat a waste of time, but
Now, this is Amala. You can check out her channel. Very good content she does over there. She had a live, I believe yesterday, where she's actually talking about the conversations or the reactions between Twitter and Facebook. People had about her and just this whole conversation, point blank period. And I think she gave an excellent talking point and feedback on her perspective of this. So shout out to her. And if she is listening to Clouds, I pick out the best picture I can for you, ladies. So you let me know in the comment section if it was appropriate for you. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
it's nearly impossible. You just mentioned there are nearly hundreds of ways that one could appropriate somebody else's culture or their livelihood. And to expect any one human being to keep on top of that throughout their entire life, I think, is an unrealistic ask. And I think imitation is a form of flattery. I appreciate my food by eating it. I appreciate the hair that I wear by wearing it, by putting on the clothes that I wear. And every single item around us in this room could probably be attributed to a certain culture. Do we have to constantly worry about what culture we gain things from?
Does intention have anything to do with
Well, I
it?
guess I didn't hear anything about anybody worrying about it. What I hear about when I think about and talk about cultural appropriation is people becoming more aware of it. We could say the same thing about racism, sexism, homophobia. Just because you can't solve it and don't see it at every corner doesn't mean we shouldn't be aware of it and trying to address
Wow,
it.
do you really put those on the same level?
I absolutely
Racism
do.
and sexism, you put it on the same level as culture?
That's a whole nother ball. That's a whole nother ball. Well,
Totally.
yeah, that's a whole nother ball. But we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it on the chime of just what we're aware of, what we're exactly aware of. We're gonna give Peace Level final thoughts, and also I'm gonna drop the link. So if anybody have any questions, comments, just about the whole conversation, because again, it's a very good conversation need to be had. So Peace Love, you want to give your thoughts over everything? Because I feel like the other girls pretty much saying what we're saying, but I think that what Dr. Lester is saying, I think awareness just need to be made. So Peace Love, if you give your final thoughts, and I'm gonna drop the link for everybody else who want to chime in.
All right. Well, I do agree with what the young lady was saying. Everything could be tied back to some sort of culture. And we it's going to get to the point where it's like, do we have to address or give credit to every single thing that that we do, every single thing that we say? So there is a fine line between paying homage and just being your authentic self, just being your authentic self, and just liking a certain style or, a certain look. For example, I think these little pendants, I think they're like Greek or something, but I thought it was cute. But I don't want people to think that I'm disrespecting them because I haven't, like, if someone were to comment on this, I'd be like, oh, thank you. These are like Greek symbol. To acknowledge every single thing, I think that can be a little over the top. I just think that when it comes to mainstream media, that's where it irks me. Like when the Kardashians decide to do things that are more that are come from our culture, the Black culture, the African culture, and they repackage it like it's something new, then I get offended. I think because people who are at that level, they do change styles, right? They not change styles, but they do set the trends, right? For what the younger generation may do or older generation may do. So when you're doing that, you have that type of responsibility. I think that you should give credit where credit is due, So.
Well said, lady. Again, where can we catch you so we can get that profound wisdom over there too?
You can go to Peace Love. That's the name of my channel.
Okay.
Peace Love. And it's one word, like down here.
Bring that awareness.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lee. I really appreciate you coming over. Again, check her out over there. Also, I will be having a great interview with her. I'm
on Thursday.
Thursday, thank you. So it's gonna be a great conversation. What time?
Okay.
Yeah, I got my calendar. Yeah.
8 o'clock Eastern Standard.
All right, that's 7 my time, so 7 Central.
Or 9. Let me look. Yeah, something around there.
Yeah, I have my phone too. I'm trying to glance down and look up.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Around 8 or 9 as I look real quick. Okay. 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Eastern Standard Time.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you for tapping in with us, having this good conversation.
All right. Bye, guys. Bye, Genesis.
See you. Peace, love.
Bye, love.
And there was 2. Jen, so what's your thoughts on the whole
And
matter?
then
Again,
there
guys,
was 2.
Yeah, and then there was 2. The link is dropped down below, guys. So if y'all have any questions, comments, or just want to chop up just by the specific topic at all, the link is there. So let me know what y'all guys think on the matter with the culture appropriation. Oh, you, Jen.
Am I doing final thoughts now?
Oh, you can. And I'm just going to wrap it up. And anybody want to chime on in and add their little perspectives on the matter, and that's fine.
Okay. As I said before, I have mixed emotions about the cultural appropriation. I feel different when we're talking about children versus adults. And I think it's because of how I've seen things play out, when adults are involved, things are accepted. When others do it, things that we've been doing forever are accepted when adults of other races or other cultures start to do that thing. And that's where I have an issue with it. If that were not the case, then I would probably say, hey, go for it. If you're curious or whatever it is they're doing, then, be all in.
Fair enough. And speaking of culture appropriation, we have, I'm guessing.
Did someone say they were going to steal the mullets?
Yeah, I'm all about the mullets, man. I'm all about the mullets.
Can't be stealing the mullet. That's just sacrilegious there, man.
You can have the mullet.
Why can't rock the mullets? I might, Halloween, I might see your style come around. I might say, hey, one day I just might want to pretend to be that person for that moment.
You can't have my mullet, man. You just can't have it. You see how silly that is?
I don't think it's
actually we did have your mullet. Like I'm a Gen Xer, and in the 90s, as teenage girls, we wore mullets. Only they weren't called mullets.
You know, it's rough. It's hard work out in these streets maintaining the mullets like this. I can't tolerate people trying to take my mullet.
How long
You can have it back.
How long you been working on that mullet, sir?
Oh, that's at least 18 years right there. 18 years of hard work and dedication, and I can't believe somebody would just take my culture and appropriate it, and I just can't be having that up in these streets. They cannot. They just can't.
Well, maybe we wanted to be like you for that moment. Maybe we're showing some kind of appreciation of who you are or what you're about.
You know, now that you put it that way, I'm kind of flattered. I kind of feel good. I kind of wish everybody would have a mullet when you put it that way. I don't feel so bad. I feel like maybe I reached out and touched somebody and I helped build a bridge, and we're stopping the culture wars and we're coming together. It's kind of a crazy thought.
Yeah, maybe we might have that good conversation about it. Might start with the hairstyle. And it might start with a little bit of history. You never know. We might actually be a little bit more friends from that point on. What do you think about that?
You know, maybe you could give me some hair care tips. I mean, that maybe I can help with that. Maybe we could not just be this culture and that culture, but we could be one culture.
That sounds fair to me. What do you think about that, Luke?
What's going on? First of all, how are you, man?
How are you, Lou? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Listen, I think that all humans seek to be important innately, right? As individuals and as also groups. Um, I talk about this all the time, and I usually come at it from an economical perspective, right? And this can actually be made into a parallel because whether we whether we care to learn or not, white people, black people, Asian people, all people participate in a certain economic um, monetary system that is most likely not their own. Someone else created that. And I say that to say, if you have the hair to be able to style it in any form or fashion, why are you not able to? Because someone else wants to control the style and deem it theirs, but at the same time they're using the white man's car, the white man's sheets, the white man's money, the white man's bank, so on and so forth. And so it's a difficult conversation for me, and to be honest, it's more or less a waste of time when you look at other things that are much more important than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Brazilian, as you know. Brazilian women, black or white, most of them have long hair, right? And they do whatever with that hair. You can't say nothing to them because it goes all the way down to their butts, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
completely normal and no one cares and no one says anything. So once again, this is an American sideshow and a complete waste of time. And what people should be really caring about, they don't. That's why most Americans don't have $1,000 in savings. That's why, most other subcultures are not in the stock market. That's why people don't own their homes, they rent them, so on and so forth. It's minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and most of these things that we actually care about is very hypocritical when we start analyzing what we actually utilize in order to better our lives that don't come from our culture. So, yeah, I don't
I
know.
I agree 100%. So I'm pretty
I
much on that
don't.
fence. You don't?
I
Go ahead.
don't. I don't. I mean, when you look at history, a lot of the things that other cultures take credit for were actually started by African Americans. When we look at a bunch of the inventions that we talk about and things that we use in everyday living, a lot of those things were invented or created by African Americans. They just didn't get their just due credit for them. And the credit was attributed to a person, a Caucasian person. So everything we're using is not the white man's this, that, or the other. A lot of it is ours. We just didn't get acknowledged for it.
See, now that comes back to where the end tip of that clip, because he actually added those two. He added the racist side of culture appropriation. So
Mm-hmm.
that to me that makes a lot of sense. All right, but now
Mm-hmm.
how do we work that out, Genesis? Like for example, 400 years ago, my great granddaddy took your great granddaddy whiskey recipe, because again that was something I think it was between whiskey or
Mm-hmm.
scotch, one or two. That was a recipe
Uncle
that
Nearest. Uncle
Yes, that
Nearest.
he invented,
Uh-huh.
and of course, my culture took that away from you. So now here we are back to current times. How do you feel like we should make that happen? Because what I think happens is now, I'm using awareness. I feel like we should have the recognition of that, be aware of it. Like, hey, this is what my great 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 such did. Now, if somehow you find me in my moral compass, how should I work that out with you? But let's keep in mind, I'm gonna still burden awareness, but I'm not gonna give you the financial backing of that. Would that still be okay with you?
No.
Okay. Why not? Because I'm recognizing it. I'm putting your great great granddaddy's name on the plaques and stuff like that. Hey, this is the original founder of it, but I'm not giving you the money on it. This happened 400 years ago. I have nothing to do. I don't know the whole story back end, but the history's out there now. It's stapled. It's established. It's in the books. Boom. Your great great granddaddy got it.
Well, you're asking me, and I am one of those that is a supporter of African Americans receiving reparations because everybody else has besides us.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Lou, what's your take on that? Because you're on the fence of, it doesn't really matter. Let's move forward. It's over and done with.
Well, of course, there's a sense of nationalism in any country, right? And within that nationalistic ideological point of view, you will have a dominant culture, and within that dominant culture, you will have subculture. Any or other countries are full of layers, right? If you think of a country like a cake, cakes have layers. And a lot of times, we want the lowest layer to mean the same as the highest layer, and it just doesn't. Different layers have different flavors.
Okay.
And unfortunately, what matters the most is the dominant layer, if you think about it that way, just simplistically. And so I understand the reparations argument. I understand that we want to make sure that we see other people's cultures. But to be honest, if you're arguing cornrows, I mean,
Okay, well then I'll throw another one in there, Lou. Okay, we're not arguing hairstyle no more. Shout out to the mullets. We're not arguing. We're arguing foods. We're arguing something 400 years ago, like Genesis, a something that could have helped my family, not only just that one generation, but 400 years moving forward. We're arguing, dance styles. This my style. Primal took my style, so guess what? He's making profit off of that.
okay, I'll give you an example. Very simple,
Okay.
right? Brazilian slaves, which Black Brazilians were enslaved for 350 years as well. I'm sure people realize that. We have a Brazilian dish which is called feijoada. Feijoada is known around the world as, the dish that the slaves used in order to nourish themselves. And what it is it's beans with a combination of any other food that they were able to find to cook with the beans in order to survive. So, should white people stop eating beans? Should I get 1% of the stock? Should Brazilians stop eating beans? Should America stop buying beans from Brazil? Should we? What's going on here?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. The same thing with and this is me. This is far back as I remember. Grits, collard greens, neck bones, black
Same
eyed
thing with
peas.
same thing with sugar cane. Should I stop importing sugar cane to the Americas because it's mainly a Brazilian, situation? No.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense in an economy, right? So where's the line that we draw? Like you said before, if I'm able to verbally um, let people know, like, hey, okay, this is what it is, this is where it comes from, and these are the people who own it. Why can't I rock it though? Because in my opinion, right, if you mimic someone, that means you admire them, in my humble opinion.
Okay.
Therefore, in my opinion, black people should be happy that the society at large is mimicking them, to be honest, because we all know that black Americans are the most influential powerhouse. They are the influential powerhouse of the world. We all know that.
Okay. Genesis, do you have a thought to that, and I'm gonna bring somebody up.
I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, and I
Yeah.
don't want this to be a contentious show. When we it struck a chord with me when he said we should be happy
Yes. Same
that the choice of words, maybe I was triggered. I don't know.
No, I really mean that. I'm being
Right.
honest. I believe Black Americans should actually be happy that the rest of the world is following their cultural trend because that means something. That means you're actually on your way to the top. That's what that means. Because people don't
We're
follow
on our way
losers.
to the top.
I believe Black
We're on our way to the
Americans,
top. I mean,
yes,
by you suggesting we're on our way to the top, then
because Black Americans have not always won. That's just evident by history. So I believe when people start mimicking your culture, that is the culture that is on its way to the top.
Fair enough. Mandrell, what's your
suggesting that we're at the bottom, or
I
you're
never
implying
said you
that
were
we're
at
on
the
the bottom
bottom.
and we
I am
have somewhere to
implying
go.
you. To be honest, I believe Black America is number two. White America is number one. This is
Okay.
evident, right? So if even white
I guess
people
it
are
depends on
starting
the
to
way that
mimic,
you look at it. If you're looking at it
there are
a
certain ways,
person of
right?
color, if you look at it from a person of color's view, if we are going, whether you believe in
Okay, put it this way,
creation
right? Put it this way, right?
or evolution.
White kids love rap, right? White kids love rap. I mean,
Mm-hmm,
they buy the CDs, they buy the music, they want like
mm-hmm,
Little Uzi, all these cats, right? Little Baby, they love it. To me,
mm-hmm.
that is an interesting point of view. To me, that means that Black culture is having a very high impact ratio, and that is important to see. Now, what the effects are going to be of that, we have yet to see, right? I'm not blaming any rapper, right? I'm just saying that if the rappers are putting out a certain culture and it's being followed, that's actually important.
Wouldn't you say that when
Because
stuff
they're putting
becomes
out
mainstream,
entertainment.
hold on, repeat that, Primal?
wouldn't you say when ideas or styles or trends become mainstream, it's no longer white culture, it's no longer Black culture, it's no longer Asian culture. At that point, it has become American culture. That
That's
would be
true
my
too.
argument, is that it is no longer one particular culture. It is becoming the American culture, because the American culture, at least the idea of it, is that this is all a melting pot and people combine their cultures together. That's my
No,
understanding of it.
that would make sense if America treated it that way. But America as an institution
What's up, Mandrell?
never
How are
has.
you?
What's up, everybody? How you
How
doing?
you doing?
Hey,
Hey,
Mandria.
how you doing? America as an institution has never treated it that way. America has always segregated its population
No.
in some shape, form, or fashion. So if something becomes mainstream, it's still Black culture because America's going to tell the public it's Black culture. I mean, if
But
America said no,
I
this is
guess
American culture.
who's telling the public that it's quote unquote Black culture? Or
The
who's
government
telling?
acknowledges it. The government acknowledges it that way, which is the biggest one. And the media, as you know, is full of propaganda. They're going to market it that way. So, and companies are going to sell it in that, and companies are going to sell it in that fashion. So, America as an institution treats it segregates its population in some shape, form, or fashion to include the culture. It segregates it all.
Would you say then the government is the culture police by that argument?
The culture police? No.
The government is the culture vulture.
That one I would agree with.
The police? No. You can't police culture unless you completely wipe it out. And the only way to do that is to commit genocide, which America has done before.
Absolutely.
So, and the thing is, with as far as like say your example for the whiskey or during Prohibition and everything, and the white family stole the recipe from a Black family. The way you make that right is, bottom line is, yeah, you're not directly responsible for that, but your family made a fortune off of stolen product. You must make that right by paying the family now. And if you want to make it right for real, you give that family the patent for that recipe. If you want to make it right for real, you give the family the patent for that recipe. You break them off nicely. and give them, and then you take a percentage of the sales if the family is okay with that.
Correct.
You have to give that product away to the family now that you know it's stolen. It's not yours, it never has been, but you've made a fortune off of it. It's not that family's fault that you didn't diversify and get involved into other business ventures that paid off. That's stolen. That's not right. You know what I mean? That's from my perspective, that's the only way to make it right. And this has happened. You know, there's stories time and time again with this. Like, people are mad in California with Governor Newsom for giving that black family that beachfront property back. People are down his throat about it. I'm like, well, the government stole it. And
but rather than do that, they do something. They go around that, like Aunt Jemima, the Pearl Milling Company. Rather than give them money to pay them, we'll change the name.
Yeah, we'll just change the name. You didn't change the recipe.
Exactly.
I mean, the picture's still on it. That lady's picture's still on it. What are you talking about?
Hold on, Lou. What's your thoughts, bro? What's your thoughts?
Well, and this is where we get into the capitalism arguments, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're slowly down the rabbit hole.
Right. This is where we get into the capitalism argument because, see, privately speaking, this happened to Facebook, right?
Yeah, it did. It sure did.
And we all watched the movie or whatever documentary came out, and those brothers actually started a cryptocurrency exchange called Gemini, and they're fairly successful, but they were only able to do that from the funding that they received from that lawsuit, right? So I understand the importance of making things right, but unfortunately, if this was done more than 200 years ago, I mean, even closer than that, nothing's going to be done about it. It's done.
Yeah. So again, it comes back. Hold on. So now it comes back to the question that I was saying earlier. So since we, I'm glad Genesis kind of brought that up because that little segue into that, and I really didn't want to do that because I feel like maybe I could have been a part two, tap into it, and that's fine because again, the conversation need to be had because if we're comparing the two, we're talking about looks, clothes, heck, even status, as far as that culture goes. Now the question is can we compare racism and sexism as the same culture?
What?
You break that down for me.
Okay, I'll let Mr. Dr. Lee break that down because he had a great point on it. So give me 1 second. And shout out to everybody in the chat. And again, if y'all new to the conversation, hit the subscribe button. We're pretty much talking about culture appropriation, what's appropriate for you, what's outside your culture, what's down to the food, clothes, hat, dance style. Even to the to surfing, to hair braiding, because I know that was the first thought process. Like, if that woman or man is wearing the same hairstyle as me, but we're not the same race, is that an issue for me? If quote unquote Primal, hey, you know what? He's white. Shocker there. If he comes up on a Halloween and he decides to do blackface, should I be triggered or should I take that as a compliment? Or should I wear a mullet? You know what? And he just gave a perfect example of, hey, you know what? I feel offended. But we had that discourse back and forth just momentarily. You know what? I take it as a compliment. Go forth with it. And that's it. I just might just grow a mullet just because.
Yeah, see, some of that stuff is, people being hyperbolic and far too sensitive. Some of this cultural appropriation stuff is. I freely admit to that. But my thing is, if you take someone's culture and claim it as your own, or a part of someone's culture and claim it as your own, now that's cultural appropriation. Like Kim K wearing cornrows, she's done it before. You know what I mean? And you saw it happen, right? Like Bo Derek did the cornrows one time. Ethnic, the look. But if it's on a black woman, why is her hair like that? Oh my God, it's disgusting. See, now that's when you change it into something racist. You know what
Until
I mean?
recent years, it was looked at as unprofessional if we had them in the workplace.
Exactly. And it still looked down upon.
Still is, by the way.
It's still looked down upon, depending on who's wearing it. And that's the thing. It's a social thing as far as what's appropriate and what's not, because people see things the way they want to see them.
And my boss called me the other day, Mandrell, and he said, "Listen, if we have to go back into the office for any reason. Although I made sure to, when I signed my offer, I let them know I'm never going back into an office again. But you make concessions. He said, Lou, because my hair is super long now. He said, you might have to cut your hair, and I'm like, cool. It is what it is. I'm not gonna let my money go because of my hairstyle.
Well, yeah, that's your job, man. I mean,
And that's just my bread and butter. And again, it goes back to capitalism, right? So it is what it is.
yeah.
I'm glad you said. Hold on. A quick question for Pop Blanco, and I'll steer off to Lou because I had a thought of a friend. He literally did the opposite of what you said, Lou. High paying job, just got out the Air Force. Tech work with AT&T, I think it was Verizon, I'm not sure. Instantly was going to make pretty much like $80K a year, and they gave him the same suggestion, like, "Hey, we need you to cut your hair," and he had pretty much cornrows and braids, and he got offended by that.
They can't make me cut my hair, man. They can't make me.
Listen, Joe Dirt, chill out. The mullet went out in '89.
Surprisingly, sir, the mullet is still
Don't
around.
you know?
No,
This
it's
is
not.
coming back.
I promise you, the mullet is coming back slowly.
Well, the thing is, I've seen Primal's bald head. He's not Solid Snake. It's not the '80s. Okay, it's got to go.
Excuse me, sir. This is
Not a good
Primal,
look.
This is Primal Mullet, and Poppy Blanco has a question for you. I don't know how serious it is. He says, "Hey, Great Pill Podcast. Ask Mendrell if the white girl wearing braids is the same as the black girl wearing white woman's weave."
In my opinion, I think it would look weird if a white girl. But I've seen white girls wear braids before, though.
I have to.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've seen
All
it
the
before,
time.
and
All the time.
it doesn't look the same. It doesn't
Because
look
they
right.
don't have the texture. Actually,
Yeah, the
cornrows were
texture is not
Right.
intended
I'll
for
say this much: if they're pretty,
kinky
they can
or
get away with
coily
it. That's
hair.
about the bottom line. Here's the truth: if they're pretty, they can get away with it.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to what we was talking about earlier with Kim Kardashian, and she's celebrity status. She's very attractive. People will overlook certain things. I was on a stream with Mandrill when we had to talk about, and it was stated about some other men was like, again, about their culture and their preferences. Hey, I won't date a woman. I won't marry a woman. Well, more like marry. They'll sleep with them, but I won't marry a woman who have weaves or extensions or wigs in their hair. So, and by that, that's the same thing. So it's inappropriate to a certain degree, but you're okay. Because I literally had to think and dive deep, Mandrell, and to me it was right in the surface. We back in the day, who we had? Janet Jackson, Tyler, Halle Berry, all them little women back in the 80s that we thought was the most finest thing ever. The 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, right? So they had weave, hair extensions,
They had
wig,
perms, all kind of stuff that
outside their workplace,
Yeah.
right? Because they was actors. But guess what we was doing coming up? Man, that's my crush. Man,
Yeah.
that was somebody I would marry. But now here we are today, arguing the fact that, you know what? I will not marry a woman with weaves, hair, wigs, and extension. Why? And
Well,
I
for
think
the
that
record,
most-
But
I
you
never
all
said
look
that.
at it for the wrong reasons. You all look at it for the wrong reasons. You all look at it like we're attempting to appropriate when we're looking at it for it serves a whole different purpose for us. For us, when we're doing it for protective styling. That's to protect our own hair. Many times, women that you see wearing weaves and wigs, they have hair under the weave or wig. Their own hair is being protected. We can color it, we can apply heat to different styles where we don't want to do that to our own hair because we'll have breakage, we'll have moisture loss, etc. So it's easier for us to manipulate and be more creative with our hairstyles if we're playing around with hair that isn't our own. It's
I
not
agree.
because we're trying to be like them.
Well, also, Genesis, let's not forget the fact that certain jobs will only hire you, and they look because I've talked to guys who are at the top. I've I've talked to a guy who said he won't hire a woman who didn't have straight hair. So
For
you got
years,
that,
for
and the thing
years,
is,
I was
Genesis.
not allowed to dye my hair. I was not allowed to wear ethnic hairstyles because of the profession that I was in. I also wasn't allowed to speak Ebonics, which is why I now embrace it. That's why y'all hear me saying y'all and
I love
things
it.
like that, because I am now embracing the things that for years I was prohibited from embracing.
Right.
And
And
to my point, that is because black culture is starting to win more and more and more. The more you push these things, the more you fight for it, the more you're going to be given ground. Unfortunately, white people have, or fortunately, however you look at it, white people have won for a while, right? And now they're starting to concede a little bit. So it is what it is.
They're not. They're not
Beards,
really
and
conceding.
no, I meant Joel,
Really.
for the sake of the
Exactly.
conversation,
Gotcha. For the
Exactly.
sake of
Because
the
for the
argument.
sake of the, for the
we
sake of the
still cannot speak
conversation.
our Ebonics
Gotcha.
in corporate America. We
Yeah,
have to code switch.
for the sake of the
Mhm.
conversation, I had a white German Brazilian boss back in the day, and he hated my beard, and he told me how to dress, or else he would fire me. That's my Brazilian German guy. That's not even my American white guy.
Well, I
So
mean,
it is what it is.
well, I mean, what's he gonna do? He's got German in him. I mean,
Yeah,
what's he gonna do?
6'6", blonde hair, blue eyes. So it is what it
Exactly.
is. It is
The
what it is.
master, the master race.
Yeah.
That whole thing. So
Oh, then take
yeah,
our
but
next.
yeah,
Go ahead,
that's
Metro.
that's the thing. Cultural appropriation. I think a lot of times people get way. My thoughts is people get way too sensitive about it. Um, but there are cases of actual cultural appropriation. I mean, again, you take someone else's culture, claim it's yours. That's cultural, and then you market it as such. And you make money off of it. That's cultural appropriation. Kim
Mhm.
K wearing cornrows. For me, whatever, man. She's done it before. So did Bo Derek.
Yeah.
I mean, just don't, okay. If it looks good on her, don't tell a black woman it looks bad on her.
That part.
How
That's my thing
about
about.
how
That's my thing
about
about the hairstyles. I mean, if it looks good on the Armenian chick, you can't tell the
Mm-hmm.
sisters don't wear it.
how about
Mm-hmm.
when that little chick singer, the little very short one, the petite one, I forgot her name right now, the one that sings "God Is a Woman," that's my favorite song, by the way. She will spray her skin like tannish or brownish to look black. She does it all the time.
Yeah, and the thing is, it gets me.
Everyday
Like,
women do it too.
yeah,
Tanning is a
everyday
Yes.
women
huge,
do it too. They go to
huge
No, I know, but
industry.
she's not black at all. But again, she's trying to sell herself as black.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because black women buy the music. It's almost always a capitalistic play.
and also, but the thing is, it turns into capitalism. First, it looks good. You know what I'm saying? That's what catches people's eye. First, it looks good. They like it, and the men like it too. So that's why because that's why the women are doing it. But then when industry finds out about it, okay, this is what people are doing. This is why. All right, let's provide.
Ariana Grande. I
Ariana Grande,
googled
yeah,
it.
she's Latina. So it's like, okay, once industry finds out about it, let's offer a surface or a product that will facilitate this for people and streamline it, make it easier, and we can make money. And they do. You know, the thing is that Lou, for decades and decades and decades, African Americans were not allowed to make money off of their culture if it wasn't fried chicken and watermelon.
Oh, that's
Because
a fact.
and the thing is, that's why fried chicken and watermelon has become a black stereotype. Because
And that's the most. That's
during
the most. That is the most ignorant thing I ever heard in my life. Because
It
me,
absolutely is.
I was born in the South, but raised up north. And when I came down here, residing back in the South, and I heard a manager say that, and I looked at him like, "You're in the same state I am. You've been here longer, born and raised, 3 generations, right? Georgia." And this is what my stepdad said to me, and I laughed because it was so true. Georgia, Alabama, and Florida chickens cannot survive because every time you turn around, you see people every race eating fried chicken.
here's the thing. Here's the point I was going to make.
That is their go-to meal
yeah.
for every
Bro, fried
event.
chicken is lit, bro.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the point I
Fried
was going to
chicken
make.
is a thing that was given to us. Traditional African
Correct.
cuisine was primarily plant-based.
Correct.
Well, here's the thing.
Meat was
Here's
only
the point.
used as a seasoning.
I got you.
Correct.
Here's the point I was going to make, Genesis. Is that during Reconstruction, right after slavery, the way black women would bring money home to their husbands to contribute to the household was that they would sell watermelons and cook fried chicken on the street, and white people would come up and buy it as street food. So they made and they make really good money selling fried chicken and watermelon. That's where that whole stereotype comes from. Well, all black people eat is fried chicken and watermelon, but they were the ones buying it and eating it.
Bro,
That's how we made money off of it.
The
Like,
Chinese people don't eat what they sell you, bro.
no, they don't. Exactly. And the same thing with black people. We didn't eat.
Hold on,
Go
Matt. Let me give you a fun fact. And I'm gonna read something. A few people, and again, I respect everybody coming in. And actually, I respect everybody coming in and give their intake and their perspective on this, because again, it is a conversation. It's going back to how deep again the rabbit hole went, because Wally asked, "Oh, this is irrelevant." Not for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. It's not.
It's not. And here's the proof in the pudding right here, where Lily went down the rabbit hole, right? A little fun fact for Mandrell. I just found a friend of mine. She is white, and she's actually in the state that she went to visit her dad. She said every event, because the quote unquote the white men have their event, so the black people actually have an affair. It's called like a watermelon affair. Like you just buy watermelon, eat watermelon, make watermelon type of thing. And I said, you're lying. She said, no, they have at least every once a year. If I find a state in the town and the name of it, I'll send the link in the description below so y'all can actually check it out. But some comments here, because again, they didn't want to come on the panel, and I respect them for it. One was actually like, hey, I don't discuss this because I get a little bit peed off about it. And she says, I don't discuss the culture part because it pees me off. She says, if we're talking about long hair, long inches, blonde, lace face, wigs, is a trend. And anyone can wear their hairstyles, whatever they like to choose. Well, if we're emphasizing Kim, so I mentioned that, not majority, but know where half of this stuff is coming from, and still BITCHs, that is still culture and appropriation. Matter of fact, it go into somewhere else in other days. Another one had made a comment saying that, appreciate it was a little bit lengthy here, said, yes, it's appropriate. And this is pretty much from the white brothers and sisters out there, said, yes, this is inappropriate. African-American women do go to and get their hair straightened and I guess she said taken care of, done, and flowing like ours, when it's reality with her hair is nothing like ours. ? Or for her to bleach your hair, in my opinion, is like whoever wrote the article was trying to stir a racial issue. And I agree to that too. So I respect everybody's opinions and their perspective of it. I'm still leaning on to, I trust me, I understand Genesis' point of that with the history background. It will take that person morally, currently to today, to say, you know what? I feel bad. Let me make it right. But unfortunately, with marketing today, 9 out of 10 times, they are generally not going to make it right. And that sucks. Like Lou and Mandrell gave an example, which an option I never thought of. They might change the label. They might change the name. But guess what? The recipe is still the same. And I'm going to keep it 100 too. 9 out of 10 times, recipes don't even be the same. I might have the core foundation of just pancake mix, right? But guess what's going to happen over a year? Or 5 years. Let me dabble a little bit. Maybe I want nutmeg in it. Maybe I want this. Then I'll play the code game, Genesis, say, you know what? It's not your recipe no more, because guess what? I added honey into it. This is not your barbecue primal, because guess what?
And that's my issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's my issue with a lot of the things. When Black women are doing it, it's negative. It's our things aren't accepted until other people start doing it. And it shouldn't be that way, because it's the same thing we've been doing for years. We don't need somebody else to jump on board in order for us to be accepted or acknowledged for anything.
I agree. So we're gonna leave it with final thoughts, everybody. Mandrell, Lou, I appreciate y'all for coming to give you our perspective and everything. Definitely Mullet Primal coming in and just giving a perfect example in 4K how stuff is done and should be done. So I appreciate you for giving that demonstration, brother. So Mandrell, if you want to give your final thoughts, sir. Marcus, no, we're closing up, bro. It's supposed to be an hour. It kind of turned into the question was about the is racist and sexism. And I thank Genesis for even open up that can of worms, because it was going to go there. Because if we're doing comparisons, that need to be brought up too. So I appreciate Genesis for opening up that. Mandrell.
Sorry for derailing the show. Y'all know.
Oh no, that's not derail. That's literally in the context. No, you're perfectly fine. That's literally
I mean, you have to address, if you address one thing, you have to address the other things.
Yeah.
Right.
No problem. Thank you for having me. It's good to talk to you again. Good to talk to Genesis, Primal, and Lou again. Always Primal. Your people stole from us, and we want our shit back. That's what we want. All right, Primal. We
That
got to make it
part.
right.
That part.
We don't want anything new. We just want the shit you stole back, basically. All right. And now,
Yep. I'm the delegate for the white people. That's how this goes, right?
that's right. It's your fault
Each
for coming
one
up
reach
here.
one.
Right. But no, it's bottom line. Cultural appropriation, again, like I said, is when someone takes yours, a part of your culture, markets it, and makes fun of it, makes money off of it, or they claim it as their own, much like the British Museum does to art from different cultures, from like Africa and Greece and places like that. They'll take these people's like statues and stuff like that when they conquered them, and they put them in the British Museum, or they break it and have one piece in one museum and then another piece somewhere else, and then claim it as, oh yeah, we have all the pieces, but they won't give it back because they think and I quote, well, if you can't take care of the stuff you have now, what makes you think you're going to take care of this beautiful art from history?
Oh wow.
End quote.
Oh wow.
Okay, but they're the ones breaking the shit and trying to turn it into something else. That's cultural appropriation.
Okay, I appreciate that, good sir.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah.
Also look forward
Thanks
to
for having me.
Medro, if you have the free time, brother, because pretty much I'm gonna just segue this in for topic for Thursday, because I was pretty much in the other side of YouTube streets, because like I explained to everybody else, YouTube is a trillion big, right? And I love the network. And some conversations came about Andrew Tate, all his clips. So shout out to Primal. If you want to see Primal dress up as Andrew Tate, his twin brother, scroll down to the Grey Pill podcast and you see a great imitation of Andrew Tate. All right, robe, shades, and all. Also, Thursday we will be having a discussion about what is fear and respect, because there was some guys in the conversation on a whole nother space of YouTube that was given a great take. So we're gonna have to do some, maybe 2 reactions to Andrew Tate clips. Me personally, I don't know him per se, but a lot of stuff he do, I think a little bit. I'm not too much of a fan of his, but I really do need to hear what he got to say, because I'm not gonna cancel anybody because they have an opinion or a perspective or anything. That's what the Great Pill Podcast is about. So we're gonna chop it up. Lou, you're more than welcome for Thursday, bro. Mandra, you already know. Just keep an eye on the links and stuff on the men's panel this Thursday at 7 p.m. Knowing the difference between fear and respect. Lou, final words, good sir.
The United States of America, although it is a melting pot, it does consist of individuals. And our system in the United States of America allows the individual person more freedom than any other country in the world. I say that to say this: you are not going to be able to control any individual or organization that is greater than you. Therefore, most of these conversations that we're having, I hate to be honest, but I always am, it doesn't matter. In essence, right? It matters in the micro, but it doesn't matter in the macro. And economically speaking, I mean, what is the giveaway and where can the line be drawn? And that becomes very difficult because, again, like I said, we all take things from different cultures and we all drive cars from different. I mean, give your Honda away. Tell the Japanese to no longer import their Honda cars, right? Go get a Ford, right? You know, I don't know, Great Pill.
These are the arguments. Yeah, these are the arguments over here. These are the arguments. You look at you literally look at one thing and say, and then next thing you know, you look at another thing. Oh yes, but it's not you.
Yeah, stop eating McDonald's then. Stop going to Kelly's then. You know what I'm saying? Stop eating lasagna because that's my Italian side. We're not giving you that. You know, all that good stuff. Stop doing it then. Become your own country. Move away. Buy an island. You see what I'm trying to say here, Grey Pill? If you want the benefits of an integrated community and or culture and or population, then you cannot tell other people what to do because you're benefiting from what other people do directly or indirectly. Now, if you're too ignorant to understand that, that's not my problem. Thank you for having me up. It's always great having conversations with you, privately or otherwise.
I appreciate you, good sir. And my brother from another mother, Primal. You can check him out at Primal Studies. I feel like we're on the same wavelength because I know usually you have yours every Sunday, and I have mine on 2 days a week. So now we're being a little bit more proactive, which I find great because I just saw your other stream earlier. So I appreciate you for doing that. Definitely, I just want to give like real talk, bro, a more appropriate thank you because when I took a break for like a month and it's so time stand for 2 months, but I felt like it was a month. You did something that I didn't see anybody else do. You was representing the Gray Pill podcast when I was down out. You know what I'm saying? I took the break. You were still talking about Gray Pill podcast. You still promoting the Gray Pill podcast. Shout out to the ladies too, because I'll be on their streams. They'll invite me over for the guests. So shout out to Genesis. Shout out to Peace Love. Shout out to Robbie Privilege and a few of the ladies that actually come on and take the time out to come on the panel for the conversation. Not just a hot chick doing the twerks and the bumps and all that good stuff, but there's beauty behind the brains or brains behind the beauty, however you want to say it. So I just want to say thank you, Prime, for holding me down like that.
Hey man, you're welcome, and it's a pleasure. And it's good and healthy sometimes to take a break and take a step back and kind of recharge and reset. But it doesn't mean you're done. It just means you're kind of recharging for a little bit. It's like plugging in your phone. It's not like your phone is dead because you plugged it in for a while. It just needed to recharge. And I guess I like what Lou said about we all benefit from combining cultures, right? If you weren't cool with American people, if you weren't cool with Japanese people, if you weren't cool with other people in other countries making parts that go in this phone, then you wouldn't have this phone, right? Because that's not one person's, that's not one group's, that's not one. We're better together. So when we start saying, this is only for these people, this is that's where we get into trouble, and that's where we fall behind instead of going forward. So I like to see that people take the best things from what you see around you, and if it works for you, then put it in your life. And if somebody's saying you can't apply the best things you see around you to your life, then I think it's a mess. And I'll leave it there.
All right, fair enough. Genesis, you can catch Book of Genesis on her channel. Definitely hit that like, subscribe over there, where she have great conversations, very chill, laid back to her counterpart. I don't know if she ever been on Jay Takashi's because that's also a chill stream too. So remind me of that, just a female version of chill. So what say ye, Miss Jin Jin? What say ye?
What say ye? I say Black Lives Matters, Black hair matters. We don't have to get to the top because we were at the top already. Life started in Africa, the same Africa from which our ancestors hail. We know that we were brought here, and America was created on the backs of our ancestors, those same ancestors that came from Africa. So America is the great country that it is and allows the freedoms, fake air quotes, that it allows because we made it what it is. But that's a whole other story. And those cell phones, the actual telephone wasn't created by Ben Franklin. It was actually created by a Black man. Sorry. But that's a discussion for another day. Great show. Thanks for having me. And it seems that we need to change our content so we can educate those who may not know.
Yes, ma'am. And that's pretty much what we're here for. Again, everything's not black and white. There's always gray in the middle.
Gray in the middle. That's right.
Shout out to me.
Shout out to Gray Pill Podcast.
I gotta lie, I'm low key petty. I'm gonna keep 100. I'm so low key petty.
I'm big petty.
Hey, you know what? It's been real. Special shout out to Chef. I don't know if she's in the chat. I think it was Andrea. If she's in there, I will look for Chef if I catch him because I want to give him same thing like Primal, give him his flowers. For the first time, I did not even look at my phone, Primal. For the first time, I got my first Cash App, and I'm just like, oh, what's this? I said, and I saw who it's from. So my hats off to Chef for donating to the Great Pill Podcast. Real talk. I got a regular job. Anything you feel that you want to donate to the Great Pill Podcast, if you feel the conversation is deemed worthy, if you feel like it's informational, if you just like your favorite content creator just coming over here and have the conversation, donate here. Anything will be contribute to here, like StreamYard to keep this sucker bad boy going. Any little decorative stuff, like, hey, see, look at Primal. He got these little cool things in the back, right? All right, let's get that stuff going. So anything that you add and donate to the Great Pill Podcast, the Cash App is below. Feel free to go ahead and do that. I will be very grateful, and I appreciate everybody that comes in. If not, all you got to do is hit the little subscribe button. That's free. Hit that little like button. That's free. If anybody have conversations, like anything you see in the content, share it out. That's also free. We spend so much time on our phones, like Lou said, it doesn't really matter, right? Click and a swipe, copy and a paste. So with that one, exactly. Cha-ching. So I'll leave y'all with that. This Thursday, to answer Miss Creative question, because she's asking about the meal cook with me and Primal. Give me a Primal time to work on that. So we're working on the time and dates. Me personally, I'm not gonna put him on the spot, but me personally, I was trying to work it for tomorrow. We was giving dates and time, so give us time to work on that. Some ladies was asking me in Primal to have be shirtless while we cook. I don't know how that's working out, but we're gonna have a conversation about the meal preps. We're gonna try to make it as healthy or quick so we can show y'all, ladies and gentlemen, that number one, men can't cook. It's not all about the women. We know there's men out there in these spaces say, hey, they want women submissive. We want the sandwiches while we sit in our lazy ass not do a bloody thing. And me, Primal, and shout out to Poppy Blanco, we're like, hey, we're men with survival skills. Aren't we supposed to learn how to cook too? What happened if the lights and power go off? So we know other ways and techniques to get the meal done. Maybe some people don't know how to do that, but we do. So I think what we're going to do here, we're going to have a meal prep. Since me and Primal got all the little multiple cameras, we might have one meal, just one with us. One was showing our presentation on meal, have a conversation about it, how we prepped it, how we cooked it, give it short time, because it doesn't take Primal, like 20, 30 minutes and you're done? Yeah.
I just have to get a hairnet.
That's it. So I appreciate you guys again. Subscribe, like, hit on the good bell button, and we'll talk to you later. Thursday, guaranteed the men's panel, where we'll be talking about the differences between fear and respect, okay? We're not going to do no 2-hour long stroke streams. We're going to get straight to the point, have great conversation like we just had here. Saturday, the co-ed. I am definitely working on something for that. We are going to be talking about the child support. And I apologize to other viewers. It didn't happen last week because, again, everybody has time on their hands, okay? They have a life. So I'm not going to force somebody to come on. Nobody have time. Friday, I have a special guest coming up. So we're working on a topic for y'all, okay? But Thursday and Saturday, guaranteed, okay? Even if I got to go by myself. So we're going to do this Thursday and Friday. So I catch y'all later. Appreciate you. Welcome to the Great Pill Podcast.
I don't ever slow up. No, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you want to play tough and want to hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit.